Hi, in this quick video, I'll introduce the course and my expectations for you to be successful. First of all, this course is structured around, they call it problem-based learning. There's sort of three uh, separate, although connected, um, problems. Each have a couple of tasks associated with them. What I'm going to do is to try to scaffold you to work through each of those problems. The first one, we're going to try to create a shared understanding or vocabulary or vernacular for assessment. And then connected to that, you're going to be asked to develop an infographic that communicates a key idea, thesis, important information that comes from thinking about what we know about assessment and the gestalt of it in that first component part. In our second task, you're going to have an opportunity to either critique and redesign a performance assessment or choose to create a new performance assessment and associated criteria. And then in the third problem, we're going to look at communication of student learning. You're going to have the opportunity to critique a communication of student learning process, which often includes, it does include reporting, but also other ways that we inform stakeholders about student progress, and then to advocate for changes for a reporting process, a communication of student learning process that you would develop. So for each of those three problems, they'll have a section of the course timeline where we're going to take them up. You can see that in the course schedule. But then I'm going to provide additional scaffolding for you in each of those three problem areas. So in this video, to illustrate that, I'll just talk about the first one. In our first week together, I'm going to have a Google Doc created with a list of 20 assessment terms that you will then work collaboratively with a peer group to define and consider. I'll have sub prompts for you to consider what's important about it, how to use it best, what challenges exist. Then there'll be an opportunity, and I'll have a whole bunch of readings and video links for you to access in order to do that work. Then you'll choose a group. You'll be able to consider what your thesis is that you want to put forward through your infographic. You'll design a draft of that. We'll look at what makes a good infographic. You'll have an opportunity to critique an infographic, all to develop. You'll get some teacher feedback on your thesis and the supporting ideas that you want to turn into an infographic, and then you'll develop your infographic. So that same type of scaffolding will occur for each of the three problems throughout the course. What I expect you to do is to, first of all, trust that D2L is your place to go. Each week you'll receive a weekly news item. It'll be laid out step-by-step instructions for what you need to do that week with all the links. Of course, knowing that you are working on this work around the rest of your life, you will be able to determine when throughout the week you take up the weekly tasks, but timelines will be provided for things like when you need to do peer critique or when you have to have something submitted for instructor critique. And each week the expectation will be that you take a look at what those weekly steps are, and you make a plan for how you're going to fit that around the other things that you're doing. Similarly, there's some group work in this course, and that'll be something that I try to ask you to plan for with your group members when you're going to get work done, how you're going to fit that in. So checking in, having time, I guess, every week in your schedule to take up this course, and checking in weekly on D2L to see what the expectations are and mapping that to the time that you have available and communicating that through to your group members is a key expectation. Zoom meetings, they're going to be collaborative opportunities for you to work with your peers or with me to develop understanding. If it's something that I can lecture or share information, I'll do that as a video as I'm doing now. Zoom meetings will be collaborative, so it's important that you book those in. And lastly, expectation is that, and I mentioned this in the instructor video, as well, introduction to the instructor as well, but I need you to make sure that you reach out when you're not sure about things that are stated, when the expectations or weekly schedule has elements in it that you're confused about. Use the Ask Josh form and reach out so that I can correct any of those, provide more clarity, sometimes respond and reorganize the way I'm doing things in order to meet your needs. The course outline provides a pretty good overview of where we're headed, but that's designed for all the online sections. In D2L is your place to go to see week to week what it is that you need to do, what the readings are, and how those expectations help you work towards the assignments. If you can trust me to scaffold that and commit that time, what you won't be left with is a bunch of work that you have to do and figure out how to coordinate on your own. It'll all be built into the way that I scaffold this problem-based learning. Yeah, so I hope that provides you with some idea of what's expected. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more and getting started with this course soon. Bye for now.